I want to focus on what is going on with a great debate now on the minimum wage, involving no less than the Vice President of the United States. In case you had any doubt that he might be considering a run for president, he teamed up with Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, advocating for a $15 minimum wage. This was interesting because Cuomo was pushing a tiered wage, higher wages in places like New York City. You're looking at Times Square right now, where a higher minimum wage might be in order, but in other parts of the state where it might be a little bit more onerous to business, let's say upstate New York, Albany, the state capital, you're going to take a peek at that. It might not be required. You might not need a higher wage in Albany or some of the outposts of New York. Now Cuomo, probably reading the pressure on the left, saying $50 across the board for everybody. Joe Biden saying much the same. The fact that the two of these guys are saying it at the same time raises all those political questions. But enough of that. To Republican strategist Ashley Prout, on which she makes this, former AFL CIA organizer Stuart Acuff. We also have entrepreneur Dave Maney. All right, now Dave, it's an economic issue, so I wanted to end with you on an economic issue. In the scheme of things, will it make much of a difference? In other words, do you, when you invest and look at markets on a day we had the Dow up 76 points, does it make a difference?
It absolutely makes a difference. It's a huge difference. I mean, look, the minimum wage right now here in Colorado is $8.23. You're talking about nearly doubling it. That is this minimum wage debate is economic stupidity of the most arch kind. Like, this isn't even close. This isn't like, maybe this is a good idea. This is like, are you kidding me? This is economic insanity. It forces labor under the table. It forces automation. There's now burger flipping, taco making robots, which you'll move that bottom rung of the economic ladder. You'll saw it right off. This is lunacy.
All right, Marshall, as our labor guy, I'm sure you pretty much agree with that sentiment. Stuart, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yes. Raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour would impact about 35 million workers in America. Spending money and investment on the bottom line is how we get the most out of our dollars, how we get the most out of our investment, because it increases consumer demand. They've done a study already at SeaTac, the Seattle-Tacoma Airport Authority, and found out that raising the minimum wage there increased employment. And we believe raising the minimum wage, even as high as $15 an hour, will increase
raising it to
employment
$15
by increasing wages.
All right, Ashley, what do you make of that?
That's, entirely not true. What we've seen in places like California and in Seattle, we've seen businesses closing their doors. This whole Fight for 15 movement is a complete charade. It is not about increasing the minimum wage as much as it is about unionizing fast food restaurants. And that becomes the problem here. They want to bring them to the bargaining table. Businesses should be able to operate in whichever way they choose and to pay their... Yeah, well, it is true. And it's all about the bottom line for the SEIU, who have deep pockets, and they care about people like Joe Biden and Andrew Cuomo.
We're running out of time, guys, but there's a billboard behind McDonald's there that features a kid saying that $30,000 is a lot.
My friend.
A lot. What do you think of that?
Can I just tell you, my friend Neil, that the American labor movement has been in favor of every minimum wage increase since the minimum wage was adopted in the mid-1930s.
Through that.
But this is more than just a little boost, right? I mean, it's more than just a little boost.
Well, my point is that we're not just interested in people who are organizing. Even before we ever thought about organizing fast food workers, we favored the increase in the minimum wage.
More right after this.